King Charles just signed a highly classified legal document that fundamentally rewrites how the British monarchy operates. And the terrifying reason he did it traces back to a 3-minute medical emergency at Windsor Castle that absolutely nobody was supposed to know about. When you strip away the polished palace PR and look at the raw, constitutional reality of what actually happened, the official story and the truth don't line up at all. This wasn't a standard, peaceful transition of duties. This was an emergency lockdown of absolute power that left Queen Camilla completely stripped of her daily influence. Before we get into the explosive details of this internal power struggle, make sure to hit that subscribe button for Royal Watch. We break down the unfiltered truth of the royal family as it happens. And trust me, the palace is currently in absolute chaos. Let's talk about the secret emergency that just changed the British Empire forever. The core of this massive power shift isn't really about traditional succession laws. It traces directly back to a highly restricted private investiture ceremony held in mid-June. King Charles, who is currently 77 and undergoing continuous, grueling cancer treatments, stepped up to the podium to address senior military commanders. And then he completely froze. For 3 agonizing, terrifying minutes, the monarch stood immobilized, unable to speak. His gaze entirely unfocused as his body was visibly overwhelmed. But here is the most horrifying part from a constitutional standpoint. The senior military aides and royal guards stood completely frozen alongside him, not because they didn't want to help, but because they were legally paralyzed. The ancient rules governing the monarchy offer absolutely zero legal authorization for anyone to intervene if a monarch becomes incapacitated but remains conscious. For 180 seconds, the governance of the entire British Empire hung in a dangerous, paralyzed vacuum. The spell was only broken when Prince William shattered centuries of rigid protocol, crossed the room, and physically guided his exhausted father to a chair, while Princess Catherine seamlessly stepped up to the podium to finish the ceremony. That terrifying 3-minute window exposed a catastrophic flaw in the legal machinery of the state. It proved that if the king suffered a sudden medical crisis, the heir to the throne had absolutely no legal authority to govern in real time. Charles realized instantly that the survival of the monarchy could no longer rely on his fragile physical health. In absolute secrecy, he convened his supreme constitutional lawyers to draft what is being called the Royal Succession and Throne Maintenance Act. This isn't a symbolic gesture. This law permanently and immediately transfers supreme, top-secret executive privileges directly to Prince William and Princess Catherine. For centuries, the highly classified red boxes, containing extreme, top-secret government and military intelligence, were for the monarch's eyes only. Under this new decree, William and Catherine have been granted unrestricted, concurrent access to the exact same classified intelligence as the king. They are no longer waiting to inherit the state. They are actively running it. But the execution of this new law triggered a brutal, entirely unprecedented confrontation inside Buckingham Palace, and the immediate casualty of this power shift was Queen Camilla. The morning after the king signed the decree, Camilla walked into her private office expecting to find her familiar red box of state papers, the ultimate symbol of her proximity to the throne. The box was completely gone. A senior aide nervously informed her that, under the new, ironclad security protocols, all high-level intelligence had been permanently rerouted to Prince William's expanding office at Kensington Palace. Camilla was stripped of her daily political access overnight, not because Charles was angry with her, but because the new legal framework deemed her procedurally irrelevant to the survival of the crown. This brutal demotion led to a highly restricted, incredibly tense 4-person showdown in a private drawing room. Charles, Camilla, William, and Catherine sat face-to-face to confront the stark new division of power. Camilla, acting as the sole voice of open defiance, pointedly warned Charles that institutions almost always use comforting words like continuation when they actually intend to execute a permanent usurpation of power. She was terrified of being marginalized. The room fell suffocatingly quiet until King Charles delivered an ironclad response. He placed his hands flat on the table and informed his wife that the ultimate decision belonged to him alone. In that definitive moment, William and Catherine watched the king ruthlessly choose the long-term survival of the crown over the domestic peace of his own marriage. The most revolutionary aspect of this entire decree, however, centers entirely around Princess Catherine. The law explicitly strips away the outdated, archaic expectation that she is merely a decorative consort. The legal text officially recognizes Catherine as a senior constitutional advisor, legally mandating her direct participation in shaping long-term royal strategy. But this unprecedented elevation came with a devastating, deeply personal cost. Tucked deep inside the classified portfolio was a legally binding mandate regarding her 13-year-old son, Prince George. The document ordered that the young prince must immediately begin a rigorous, formalized curriculum of constitutional training and statecraft under the strict supervision of senior jurists. For over a decade, Catherine fought a fierce, desperate battle to give her children a normal, grounded childhood away from the suffocating pressure of the crown. Reading that document, Catherine was forced to accept the heartbreaking reality that the institution had officially claimed her son's youth far sooner than she had ever anticipated. Palace insiders are acutely aware that the timing of this massive legal lockdown is no coincidence. The drafting of this impenetrable framework occurred right as highly synchronized rumors began circulating that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were planning a dramatic return to the United Kingdom with their children. By legally fortifying William and Catherine's executive power in the present day, King Charles effectively constructed an unbreakable steel wall around the core line of succession. This decisive, calculated maneuver instantly blocks any potential effort by the overseas branch of the family to exploit Charles's physical vulnerability or manipulate the media narrative during his illness. If the Sussexes do return, they are walking into a landscape where the rules of engagement have already been permanently dictated by William. After the legal dust had settled, King Charles dismissed all of his aides and sat down privately with Prince William for an incredibly emotional, heartbreaking conversation. The king personally poured 2 glasses of water, looked at the son who would soon replace him, and made a devastating confession. He admitted that placing his signature on the new decree felt exactly like authoring the opening sentence of his own departure from the world. It was a stark, agonizing acknowledgement of his own mortality. But Charles demanded one sacred promise in return. William must ensure that Catherine is never reduced to a mere figurehead, recognizing that her genuine emotional resilience is the only thing capable of preventing the future court from becoming a cold, tyrannical machine. William gave his word, officially sealing the pact that transformed a father and son into 2 kings sharing a single, unimaginably heavy burden. I want to hear exactly what you guys think about this massive power shift. Was Charles right to strip Camilla of her intelligence briefings? And is William truly ready to carry the weight of the empire? Drop your absolute most honest thoughts down in the comments below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to stay locked in on the truth, and I will see you all in the very next video.